Welcome, Mr. Walsh.
Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me the time to address you today. My name is Warren Walsh. I'm a professional geologist, and I am talking about the biosolids plant on Viewfield Road. I am also a resident of Vic West, and I have reviewed the land suitability for biosolids facility. You can read the title. You commissioned this study from Westland Resources, and I believe actually if you look at this, you'll realize, well, there's a fundamental flaw in the way the analysis was done that would show that Viewfield shouldn't have scored on the TBL. Of course, the site selection criteria of land use compatibility was to find an area where existing or planned uses would be compatible because of the severity of nuisance effects from a biosolids plant. And when we look at the rationale for the rankings, several land uses were identified as not being compatible, score of 1. Of course, they're institutional, parks, neighborhood centers, and residential. And the quote there from the report that you commissioned was, operation of a biosolids facility would not be functionally compatible with a residential neighborhood. On page 12 of that report, it also mentioned surrounding land and said that it wouldn't be considered except for in cases of residential land uses. So it's saying that if you're looking at a facility to score it, or at a land to score it, you have to take into consideration the surrounding land use if it is residential. This has not been done. This again is, I'm sure you're familiar with, the land scoring of 1 being least compatible, 2 being somewhat compatible. So what were those nuisance risks? Well, they're gas releases, non-combustible gases, fugitive emissions, the smell, the dust, the noise of such a facility, and those, of course, can cause long-term health effects. But Mr. Ferry just showed there's fire and explosion risks as well. From that 2010 report that you commissioned, here is a blow-up of the Viewfield site highlighted as the rectangle in blue. You can see that the area is listed as being somewhat compatible, but all around is residential areas that are 1, least compatible. Of course, the report said that it would consider surrounding land uses. That hasn't been done. You can see on my graphic that the residential area is listed as 1, and if without using a buffer, just using neighboring properties, you see that the Viewfield site would have been considered a 1. If you use the scoring matrix that was presented by Westland Resources, you can calculate the TBL for the social. I calculated it as a 47. I don't see how that piece of property could be scored as a 2. It would have to be a 1 because of what the report says. That's a fundamental error. Lastly, you've seen this slide. There's the comparison between the Viewfield Road site and Heartland. There's no comparison. That's a residential neighborhood. And it's your report that said the operation of a biosolids facility would not be functionally compatible with a residential neighborhood. That was in 2010. It's now 2013. I don't know what's changed. That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much.